your company.
Sure.
Producing theater is really expensive.
Okay.
Are you agreeing with me?
Well, see, it is substantial, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So my question is, like, how are you getting the funding for this big, ambitious company
Okay.
that you've got?
So the way we started was each one of us put a little bit of capital up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone kind of threw in their money, and we'll start the company together. So our biggest contract to date was with the Atlantic City Arts Alliance, which was great because that put a decent amount of money in our pockets as a company to allow us to do other projects.
Sure.
So we did a 15-week series of Shakespeare Bridge in this new art park they built. So that was the best I found, is like finding someone that's looking for theater and then filling that void. Went knocking on their door and was like, "Hey, you got a theater, huh? I got a theater company. What's going on?"
So you just knocked on the door?
Well, you know, emails, literally, but yeah, it's like one person knows one. It's the networking thing once again.
Absolutely.
And then I found out that they built a new art park, and I'm like, "Oh, a park. Let's do Shakespeare in the park."
Yeah.
Super popular here in New York.
Yeah, totally.
So we offered that, and they were like, "Well, here's the thing. It's like free, and we think no one in Atlantic City's gonna like Shakespeare." So we kind of like adjusted it. And Shakespeare Bridge is like this improv kind of, you know, jokey.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love.
Yeah. Most theater people are pretty familiar with it. So that worked out nicely. But now we're back in New York, and as you know, you can like, you know, you throw your shoe and you're gonna hit an actor or a producer or whatever. So it's back to this like let's pay to find a theater space and find a script and so on.
How was Shakespeare at Bridge received? Did people come?
Oh, it was awful.
It was awful.
No.
So people in Atlantic City really don't.
It was a shame. Like, of course, we had like a ball doing it as like actors, and you know, we put our heart into it, but each week we averaged between 5 and 15 people.
Oh, that's so rough. That's such a good show, even for people who don't like theater.
Right.
Yeah. So it was a little disheartening. Like,
yeah. So what would you say you learned, like, from the business perspective of theater from that experience? Obviously, like, even if you're creating great artistic work, it doesn't necessarily translate into monetary success. So how would you approach future projects with more of what you learned from that experience?
Sure. So what I learned, I can say, is Shakespeare doesn't always sell. It's a tough sell, in fact.
Yeah.
You're going to find maybe like the older crowd likes it, or like a lot of people in our generation don't really care for Shakespeare unless they're like into theater and like they really like Shakespeare.
Totally.
Like, honestly, I don't like Shakespeare. I can say that. I know it's like hard.
He's not my favorite.
No, it's like,
it's a commitment.
so when people hear Shakespeare, that's like, snore fest, you know what I mean? So you have to find something, I think, that's relevant, that you have to find your target audience first. Are you going to shoot for older people, you know, people our age, or, you know, something like that? Children's theater is very popular. So first, like, define who you're going to shoot for. Yeah. And then, you know, try to find something that's obviously going to click.
Sure.
So that's the tough part. That, honestly, is that, you know, it's always fingers crossed. Let's hope for the best, but you know, try to do your research. I guess would
absolutely.
Be the most important thing.
Do you know what kind of marketing went into it for you guys? Like, I mean, I assume if Atlantic City was kind of producing it, that they had at least flyers. What were they doing to get the word out about your show?
You know, I found it very frustrating, and I don't like to speak ill of people that, you know, I work with, but, you know, marketing and advertising is like the backbone of any kind of show like that. So part of it is, I think, that the culture in Atlantic City is not where New York or Philadelphia, or like these bigger cities are quite at, because they're just introducing arts into the city, which is great that this is happening, but it's going to be at least like a 10-year plan, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, it's a lot of lower class people down there, and I don't mean to say that they're, you know, stupid or anything. It's just that, once again, Shakespeare is that they're not familiar with it.
Market it not as Shakespeare. The improv side of that show.
Sure. So outside of that, there was a lot of other shows, like music and stuff like that, and so they had the Do AC campaign. You might be familiar with that. So they had the website and stuff like that, and they kind of drummed that up. Okay. But it took them, I don't know. It was a 3-month series, and it was 2 months before like signs went up around the space to say like there's shows going on here. So I feel like they kind of put the carriage in front of the horse in that sense. So it's like, oh, let's do the shows. Oh wait, we forgot to make signs to tell people we're doing shows.
Yeah.
So like, there we were every day, and you know, I ran the production side. You mentioned I do that too. So not only did I perform the shows, but I ran the production for like all the shows. So I would go to the concerts, whatever, every day, and it wasn't just Shakespeare that was not attended. It was everyone.
Yeah.
So this whole art park was built for millions of dollars, and it went to waste. Yeah.
Yeah, but I also think, you know, you're competing with the casinos, you're competing with the beach.
Yeah.
You're competing with all those things, and I think it'll take some time to develop
and
the
that's
art culture there.
honestly why we left Atlantic City, because it's just going to take too much.
On the plus side, it's a good lesson on how to not handle marketing.
Yeah, it was definitely a learning lesson that, like, your marketing and advertising should go right along as, like, you know what I mean? You're rehearsing, you're picking the script, you're doing all this, and you have to be telling the people as you go. It can't be, all right, the show's ready. Oh, wait, let's tell everyone, because now it's too late. You know what I mean? So that was definitely a learning lesson.
Have you been doing that with your next show?
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we use social media and stuff like that pretty often, because we're still, you know, we're still young as a company, so our budget's still small, so we do the best that we can. It's a lot of like grassroots campaign. You know, you tell your friends, I'll tell my friends kind of thing, so sure.
So what resources are you using from like the business perspective and managing like the financial aspect of your growing business?
Sure. So as far as like accounting and taxes and stuff like that, we use H&R Block.
Okay.
I find it's best to use a professional at the end of the day, especially when it's dealing with like the government and papers and all that, because I have an arts degree, not a finance degree, and so I'm not necessarily going to do that. I do know at this point I've learned how to budget for a show, so that's definitely important. You have to. I guess I find important is map it all out. So you're going to look at your venue, you're going to look at your cast, you're going to look at the director, you're going to look at the crew, marketing, advertising, like print costs, stuff like that. If you want to do like radio stuff. Television, very expensive, but you know, it depends how big your budget is, and then kind of work within that. So I like to lay it all out and then say, okay, so design, work, stuff like that, costumes, sound, lighting, how much is this all going to cost? But I find, you know, in terms of theater, you can get away with cutting a lot of these costs and call it, you know, experimental or... you can do a lot of easily pared down theater.
It's very artsy if it's an empty stage.
Yeah, you know, just a vision. Yes.
As long as you have a design concept, it's on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So I guess, you know, you just got to lay it all out and go from there, fill in the numbers. And
totally. What would you say is the biggest surprise in terms of expense?
I guess that's a tough one. Well, you can still find a lot of actors to work for free.
Yep.
So that's usually... I like to pay actors regardless, just on like a, you know, I come from that side as well. The venue is always probably the biggest cost.
Yeah.
So coming to New York was kind of like, wow, that's quite a lot of money for a black box. You know, so, but there is like reasonably cost-efficient theaters in the city as well. So we found this great place called the Producers Club, and that's on the lower end, and that's still $100 an hour. Wow. So you know what I mean? You put it in perspective for a theater that has maybe like 200 seats, and that's like $5,000. You know, that's kind of steep.
Yeah.
for
so.
You know,
totally.
people around, you know, us. So yeah.
You have to pretty much sell out at least like $10 a ticket.
Yeah. But the great thing is you're in the theater district in New York, so you can kind of demand that, like, hey, look, we're in the space.
Yeah.
We're putting a quality show on. It's at least worth $10.
Yeah.
So,
So I have a question then. As both a performer and as a producer, when you look at it from a producer and you go to post like a job listing on this like passion project of yours that you've been working on for years, but now you need more performers or you need technicians who don't necessarily care that it's your passion project. How do you figure out what you will pay them? Because I know when I look for jobs even, occasionally I still freelance as a stage manager and I'll look on offstage jobs or Playbill, and it'll offer me a stipend of $100 for a 40-hour work week for a month and a half. And I'll even like talk to the people every once in a while, and they'll be like, well, we love this, and I'm like, I like this project too. That's why I applied, but I have to eat.
Yeah.
Like, how are you justifying this?
Yeah.
So, how do you justify it?
I guess part of it is like you have to spread the passion to begin with.
Okay.
So I'm reading Disney's biography, and he was really good at that. Obviously we all know who that guy is now. But you have to bring people in, and if it's just your passion project, really good luck. Because
that's a good point.
Yeah, you have to. Teamwork makes the dream work at the end of the day.
Ooh, is that in the book? Or is
that's an original.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, Twitter.
That might be the quote of this series.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But you kind of have to work on a scale, because obviously in New York there's going to be equity people that have been doing this for years and years, and they've got their foot in the they're in the door. Their foot's not in it. Their whole body's there.
I don't know. Let's not get carried away.
Yeah. But there's like different levels. So top tier, we can't afford that. A lot of people, small production companies, can't afford that. Mm-hmm. But you have to go to people and say, look, I understand you have to eat. I get that. I have to eat too. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Doesn't seem like you're doing a theater show right now, right? You're looking for a show. We're doing a show. I'm not paying myself a lot. I'm you know what I mean? It's not. So I feel just being open and honest and saying, look, it's not like I'm paying myself $200 a day to do this.
Right.
I'm making less than you. I get you have to eat, and I'm sorry. And if it's like if that's,
I'm sorry you have to eat in your demands.
Sorry, God. We'll have pizza. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like just be open and honest and say, look, this is our budget. If you want to join the team, that's great. You have the talent. You're going to bring a lot to the show. This is great. If you can't, I'm sorry. Good luck finding something else.
What would you say are your biggest financial challenges now, both as a company and personal?
Personal. Biggest financial. So personally, I've just got into trying to budget monthly. Mm-hmm. Which is you read a lot of, I don't know, I'm finding a lot of articles online now that talk about this because...
This is what we do.
Yeah,
Should
yeah.
come to our websites.
I will, yeah. Because, when you contacted me about this is the problem, I think, is that, so I'm going to get a little preachy here, but the schooling system is I think, flawed. Number one, it's flawed.
We agree.
Yes. Yeah. High school and down... College aside, because that's more of you kind of get to pick and choose what you want to do. You're like an adult
but
now.
Financials are fundamentals, or
yes,
should be.
Should be. 100%.
Yeah.
So geometry, Pythagorean theorem. Honestly, why are these being taught to children? Unless you want to be an architect or something that specifically deals with this, I think it's a waste of time, to be honest. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. It would much better serve America and us as a whole if people were just taught, simple household financing.
Yeah, interest and...
Yeah, interest, how to
compound,
balance,
why you should have an IRA.
Yeah. No one mentions IRA or CD accounts or even sometimes a savings account. Now, this goes back to people parenting their children and stuff like that, but if they were never taught this, then it's just this cycle that just goes on.
Totally. So you're now self-educating, you think?
Yeah.
What and how are you doing that?
I mean, read books. Yeah. That's really, go to the library, go to Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, totally.
I got an Audible account. That's great. Mm-hmm. It's by Amazon. They read themselves to me. So, yeah, it's great. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I think... You kind of have to self-educate, especially when you've already got student loans. It's well, I'd love to go back to college, because I considered that going for a business degree or finance or something, because the company, but it's just unrealistic to be well, let me just take out some more loans.
Right. The resources are out there without the pricey education for further education.
Yeah, sure. You can definitely read a book.
Yeah. If you haven't checked it out, there's something called Khan Academy, KHAN. Academy.
Okay.
It's really excellent. They kind of do in-class video series on everything from business to finance to everything. That was one of the biggest resources I think I used when I was getting into it.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Anyway, that's great.
Yeah.
I love it.